I'm going to show you the best weapons to use inside of Warzone, including a new shotgun that just released today as of a couple hours ago, and it is absurd. It's a little bit of a meme, but it's a little bit of a problem as well. We're going to cover that. We're going to cover sniper supports, the most aggro SMGs, everything, including, importantly, the stats. You guys know we are here on true game data. We're using the combination TTK with 300 HP, and we're going to compare this real quick before we get into the builds. Now, the static versus the superior. The static will kill better at most ranges. It is still the preferred for the ultimate sweats, and especially if you get one headshot, it brings down that time to kill for the static. That makes it meaningfully better than the superior. The superior is a speed demon, and it, has kind of a long range drop off, but for a lot of people, it's still a very viable weapon for its speed, its movement, and its ease to shoot. But if you're really trying to, micromanage here, the static's going to be a little bit better. One weapon that I think is extremely slept on, it is the striker. It is my sniper support of choice. It kills just as fast as the static up close. The static still does kill a little bit quicker if you include headshots, but the striker for me, almost zero recoil, insane damage range potential. The first drop off doesn't hit until 26 meters. That's not including adding on a long barrel, etc. And then it's so fun. It's so fun to shoot. I'll show you the build for it here in a moment. It's an absolute laser, even for mouse and key players. Then we have the Rival Mine, which is right line on line with the static. If the static ever gets nerfed, the Rival is going to be your go-to weapon. Right now, it's kind of personal preference. I think the static shoots a little bit straighter, but if you do like the Rival, that is a very viable option. We have the new TAC Evolvier, and I'm going to show you it. Time to kill wise doesn't seem like it's that crazy, but it's got this movement thing. Yes, an LMG that we're going to show you a build for that makes it pretty dang fun to rock inside of close range gunfights. We then have the MCW, and yes, the MCW is insane when it comes to its close range time to kill, but it's not as mobile. If you start to factor in sprint to fire and aim down sight, it's a little bit sluggish, but I'm going to show you a build that actually makes it pretty promising for some close range engagements that you might shock some people who think they're going to get an easy win with the static. Now, I am not going to show you an FJX Horus build. Yes, it kills a little bit faster than the static, but I don't think it shoots super straight. I don't think the long range drop off is worth it, in my opinion. I think it's a decent gun, but honestly, there are so many other guns I would rather rock over it, like the Striker or the Rival, that I don't even think it's worth entertaining until all of those get nerfed. But without further ado, let's get into the loadout of the day. You may want to check out the sponsor of today's video, and that is Fume. Fume is simply a flavored air device. If you were to compare it to a vape would be like a can of soda. It's full of chemicals, sugars, additives, things that are meant to get you addicted and aren't great for your health. Whereas Fume is more like an herbal tea. It's light, it's natural, there's no combustion, no vapors, no chemicals, no additives, and nothing addictive like nicotine. You see, Fume is meant to fill the void of the bad habit you're trying to break. It's not easy to break that habit, so having something that you could fidget with or draw air through or even just chew on might help get you over that hump to finally break that bad habit. And with a wide arrangement of flavors, you can always find something to help calm the nerves and pass the tide. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be the next success story. For a limited time, you can use my code IceManIsaac to get your free topper. It's the perfect accessory for your Fume device that's a little bit softer, warmer, and even chewable. If you're interested in learning more, head to tryfume.com. That's tryfum.com and use code IceManIsaac or scan the QR code on your screen to get your free Fume topper with your order of the journey pack today. A huge thank you again to Fume for sponsoring today's video. Moving on to close range loadout number 1. It is the MX Guardian that just released today, and it has a Jack Lance conversion kit, a pressurized magazine that fires 3 ballistic rivets, 1 per magazine rotation. Pressure builds while the weapon is idle until maximum output is reached. At critical pressure, velocity and precision are vastly improved. Okay, that makes it sound like it's going to be a really long charge time or something. It's not. Throw on the dummies, 3 plates. You can see there it's kind of got like a pressure gauge down there on the low left, but it's very fast. Okay, you get 3 bullets. 1 individual bullet does like 225. Now, it doesn't do 300 to the head. It says that it does. From what I've been able to test, it does not. It only does 295. But man, 2 bullets to the chest, 2 bullets to the legs. It's like a guaranteed 2-shot kill. So even if you were to miss a shot, 1, you've got a 3rd spare shot, and on top of that, you did 225 damage. So simply switching over to another weapon or throwing a thermite, once again, it's a meme weapon, but no SMG in the game is killing that fast, period. So it is a high risk, high reward weapon. There is some lead time if you watch, you shoot. You can kind of hear it travel, but it's meant to be just an up close and personal weapon. I think this is going to piss a lot of people off. There's going to be a lot of funny clips of people being like, What did I just die to? Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's fun. So what I've done is I've tried to build this to be as aggressive as possible, right? We're trying to get that aim down sight speed as fast as we can, that sprint to fire as fast as we can. That way it's viable for us to be hitting out buildings with it. We have the Kimura laser. We have the skeletal vertical grip. We have the NIDAR scope. We have the MX stock that helps out with our tactical sprint speed. And then, of course, we need the Jack Lance conversion kit as well. All of that brings it to a pretty respectable 7 meters per second tactical sprint speed and an aim down sight speed of 293, which is pretty slow, and then a sprint to fire of 97. But once again, the fact that you can just kill people in I think it's 200 milliseconds or something ridiculous. It's fun. It's a meme. You should give it a try. Make sure you take your screenshot now. Moving on to close range number 2. This one's a little bit more along the lines of the meta. It is the tried, the true, the static. It is so dang good. Super fast fire rate. Very little recoil. You got 2 options here, okay? At least in my opinion. You can either rock the Jack Slash, which is going to give you a faster tactical sprint speed, 7.9 meters per second. If you want a little bit more recoil control, you can throw on the paracord grip, which will help out some of that horizontal shake that you saw right there. Depending on your playstyle, if you're trying to rip someone medium range, go for the paracord. If you're trying to be a little bit more aggressive, I would encourage the Jack Slash. And on top of that, with the Jack Slash, if you ever do need to pull it out, it doesn't show it here inside of the firing range, but it actually pulls out basically a throwing knife melee, which does more damage than this standard melee. From there, we have the Quartermaster Suppressor, we have the light barrel, the NIDAR, and then the Spry light stock. And if I were to sweat out in a tournament, if I were really trying to play my life for a super sweaty lobby or breaking my kill record or something, this is probably what I would have in my hands, unless I'm rocking my sniper support, which I'll show you here in a moment. But make sure, if you haven't already, you take your screenshot of the static SMG. As always, if you guys are taking screenshots, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out on any of this content. I got a lot of guides coming up, and of course, all things with Black Ops 6 and the upcoming Warzone integration. Now, I mentioned it, my sniper support. Okay, we talked about my love for the charge barrel Moors, but this striker continues to be my absolute favorite for sniper support. I mean, just look at how well you can rip people all the way down range. And as we mentioned, the damage range drop off is basically non-existent. And then you throw on the barrel that's going to give you an additional 20%. Same thing kind of here. You can rock a paracord if you want, but in my opinion, this gun shoots straight enough. You don't need a paracord, okay? If you're shooting something at that 50+ meter range, you're probably going to be sniping anyways, okay? So I want the Jack Slash. That gets me 7.2 meters per second sprint speed. Obviously, it's not as fast as something like the Static or the Superior, but at the end of the day, this is sniper support. You're going to be posted up a little bit more, and it's a worthy trade-off for how little recoil it has and how long that damage range is. This is my Striker 45 sniper support build. Jack Slash, Striker Recon, Quartermaster, 48 round, and the Jack Flashless. Moving on to number 4, we have the Speed Superior. So if we are going to rock the Superior over the Static, in my opinion, we build it for speed. We know it kills extremely close, extremely fast, up close. The Striker or the Superior, the Static, they're all the same S's. The Static kills slightly faster if you start getting headshots. But in my opinion, if you're rocking around a gun that has 8.3 meter per second, I mean, it might be worth the trade-off. You could ditch the stock or the 40 round and go for a 30 round or even a 20 round, but I think that's a little bit too risky. But hey, if you want to have some fun, 8.6 meters per second. I mean, are you kidding me? Throw that in with Specialist or the Tactical Sprint boots, you were going to be ripping across the map. You're just not going to have a whole bunch of ammo. I think for the average player, the 40 round is going to be great, especially as you're spamming through smokes. We have the Rescue Stock, the Bore Short Barrel, the Slash, and the Quartermaster Suppressor. This is how it typically looks. As you can still see, very, very fast movement speed. Still shoots plenty straight. The Superior is definitely still a go-to for a lot of players for good reason. Make sure you take a screenshot. Moving on to number 5. This is the special one that I mentioned. With the new season, they introduced a new foregrip that allows you to aim down sight, not quite an attack stance, but look how fast I'm strafing. One, listen how quietly I'm strafing. You can actually sneak up on people while using this, but you actually move faster while aiming down sight than unaimed down sight. You fly, and you can just rip people with a 200 round mag. I'm not even trying to aim right now. I'm just kind of like, it's a meme. It's a meme. And the reload's actually decently quick too without sleight of hand. Like for an LMG, That's a pretty decent reload considering you're not going to have to reload for another 200 rounds. Now, I've built this to be kind of like max movement speed, max strafe speed, just for the fun of it. And what we have here is a 5.7 meter per second aim down sight movement speed. We could make it slightly faster by throwing on the 100 round drum, but there's not that much of a penalty. You get 10 milliseconds more for ADS. You get like 19 milliseconds more for sprint to fire. In my opinion, screw it. Throw on the 200 round, get in the smoke with your friends, and just start laying down hate. We have the Rampage Heavy, we have the Haste Barrel, we have the Brace Fire, which is the new grip. The Brace Fire grip is only available by getting the new LMG that's available in the Battle Pass to level 7. Once you get that LMG to level 7, it's don't use it, okay? But this Brace Fire is definitely worth using. So get that to level 7, put the Brace Fire on the Tac Evolve ear, and start strafing like crazy with this build right here. Make sure you take your screenshot. Moving on to the next close range weapon. Once again, if you guys appreciate me putting all these together and not separating them out through multiple videos, do me a favor, drop a like on this video and make sure you stay subscribed for even more. Now, we have a kind of a surprise here. Like I mentioned, the Rival 9 actually is pretty much a line on line with the static. And for those of you that like your multiplayer gameplay, Rival's actually a lot of fun to use. Okay, it's not going to be as straight of a shooter as, say, like the Striker or maybe even the static. But for me, the iron sights on this are clean enough that I don't need to use a sight. And so I can get away with putting more attachments on recoil control or speed. And this is a plenty fast gun, 220 ADS, a 113 sprint to fire. You're moving around the map at 6.9 meters per second, which is a little bit slow, which is why I think the static kind of plays dominance here. You could throw on something like the 40 round to try to speed things up. But as you can see, it's still 6.9 for my tac sprint speed. And I lose about, what, 9 milliseconds on my ADS. Kind of up to you, but in my opinion, I think it's worth it just to keep the 50 round on there. We have the paracord grip, the Quartermaster suppressor, and since that has a little bit more recoil, I lean towards paracord. But if you're confident with your recoil, you could throw on something like the Jack Slash, and that would help speed it up even more. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is my Rival 9 SMG. I can only imagine how many screenshots I have on people's phones around the world. I'm not going to think about that because I'll lose sleep at night. Okay, moving on to the next one. This is by far one of my favorite weapons to use. The Reclaimer shotgun in tac stance, in pump, is so dang fun to use. Once again, we know the bots don't accurately reflect how shotguns shoot. You can easily 2-pump someone from this range. If not 2-pump, it's a 3-pump, and you can just throw shoulders. So while they're trying to full auto spray, you only have to expose yourself for a limited amount of time. Now, you could switch over to the single fire, and as you see, the spread gets significantly smaller than if you were in the pump fire. That is an option as well. Me personally, I haven't had as much luck with this, and just in general, when using shotguns, I like to be trading like inside of cover. But as you can see here, with that tight spread, it handles the medium range much better. Depending on your playstyle, one or the other could work for you, whether it's the spam or the throwing shoulders. I'm more of the throwing shoulders camp just because I think it allows for a little bit more finesse, a little bit more style, but totally up to you. Okay, we have the haste grip, we have the no stock, the Bryson choke, which helps out with that shotgun spread, which is what we're really trying to go for right there. I'm not really too worried about the effective damage range, like going from 31.1 meters to 31.7. You're not going to feel that, but I do feel like you're going to feel the difference, or I guess rather going from 30.5 to 31.1, you're not going to feel that, or even 2.5 to 2.6. What I think you will feel is the difference between 23% shotgun spread and 38% shotgun spread. I think for me, that's a little bit more valuable, as well as the hip fire spread being a little bit tighter. For me, I go with the Bryson choke. From there, we go over with the haste grip to try to get that sprint to fire down. If you're okay with your recoil control, you can consider going with the center mass grip tape, like if you want to aim down sight. But since I suggest running this in tac stance, we want the haste grip to keep that tactical stance spread down. Because once again, if you've seen this gun before, in its regular layout, it's pretty dang ugly. So I suggest rocking in a tac stance, and with that haste grip, it makes that tac stance spread a lot tighter. Okay, this is, ladies and gentlemen, my Reclaimer tac stance shotgun build. Moving on to another Reclaimer, kind of a meme gun, but this one was starting to get pulled out in tourneys yesterday. We had a timed kill race tourney, and people were using the Reclaimer Akimbos, which is basically like the Spaz 12 Akimbos, but they patched it. Beforehand, it would be like shoot, 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 and it just didn't kill at all. But they changed it, and if you are inside of a building with this, I mean, it's like Verdansk era level of trauma. Okay, maybe not as bad as like the R09, but if you're up close and personal, this thing's a problem. We have the Bryson Choke, the Kimura Laser to help out with our sprint to fire speed. We have the 12 gauge Dragon's Breath, the Center Mass Grip Tape, and the Jack Devastator Conversion Kit. Once again, it's a problem. I'm still trying to figure out if I like no Dragon's Breath or with Dragon's Breath, but personally, I was seeing quite a bit of people frying with the Dragon's Breath. So they have rebuffed this weapon from the previous season, or, you know, previous season where it was pretty freaking horrible. Now it's good. Give it a try. This build right here. Make sure you take a screenshot. And then moving on to the final build of the day. And ladies and gentlemen, before we go on to that, once again, if you haven't checked me out over on Twitch, I do live stream almost every day over on Twitch. And on top of that, I have been doing some more live streams both here on the first channel and over on my third channel as well. Do me a favor, go ahead and check out the description. Check out my links. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, if you want to see me roast the developers or yell at the developers or give my insight for the game. If you want to learn a little bit more of my personal life over on Instagram. If you want to see me, my gameplay live over on Twitch. Those are all available as well. Sometimes I do some really late night streams and I only stream on Twitch. Ideally, I'm streaming midday here on YouTube, but the algorithm's a crazy thing, so I try not to piss it off too much. But do me a favor, check out those links in the description, and drop me a follow. Okay, without further ado, the final of the day. It is the MCW. Okay, once again, as we saw, the MCW conversion kit kills faster than the static up close. Okay, so we are not going to build this conversion kit to be a sniper support. We are building this conversion kit to be a fast SMG up close and personal. All right, we are not building it to rip at long ranges like something like the Striker would, for a couple reasons. One, bullet velocity is really bad. Only 480 meters per second. If we were to start throwing on high grain or throwing on barrels, it would just slow the gun way too much. Everything that we build this gun for is for bringing down that sprint to fire down to 114 and bringing down the ADS only down to 245. We have 40 round mag, Jack conversion kit, Jack glassless, and the paracord grip. You could, once again, go with something like the Jack Slash, but then I think your ADS and sprint to fire would be too slow. In the past, I recommended maybe doing the DR6 hand stop, but I think the average player would enjoy the horizontal recoil control provided by the paracord grip. And it allows you to have this gun to be an extremely fast killer, still a straight enough shooter that you can handle it inside of the 25 meter range, where beforehand with the DR6, it was a little bit of a shaker. And you got to be very intentional about how you use this gun. But up close and personal, this will shock a lot of people who are using the static and the superior who think they're going to get a free win. If you haven't already, make sure you take a screenshot. But ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up today's close range video. If you missed the long range video, that'll be linked at the end of today's video. Huge shout out again to Fume for sponsoring today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.